Victor Wembanyama isn't just in the running to win the Rookie of the Year honors this season. He's on the cusp of achieving something greater. Well, this 7'4" alien basically won the rookie crown before the NBA season even tipped off. And so far, he's captivated the entire league with his freak hand-eye coordination, athleticism, and potency on both ends of the court. To top that off, he's averaging 21.4 points on 45.8% shooting from the field and 34.3% from outside the arc. But here's the kicker. Beyond these dazzling stats and achievements, Wemby has a chance to make history by doing something that no other rookie has ever done. But can he pull it off? When the San Antonio Spurs selected Victor Wembanyama as the first overall pick of the 2023 NBA draft, it was obvious that they hit a jackpot. In Wemby, they were getting a talented kid who could potentially become the first piece of their rebuild. And despite being just 19 years old at the time, Wemby seemed very confident that he'd have a good year. "I would say discovering all this stuff I used to see on TV," the French prodigy said. "All the stars, all the arenas, the atmospheres, all this is going to be really precious to me. I know I'm going to live through incredible things and have obstacles, but it's going to be a beautiful year." Indeed, it was a beautiful rookie season for Wembanyama, one with many highs and lows. But thankfully, the highs were far greater than the lows. On the 25th of October 2023, he made his highly anticipated NBA debut against the Dallas Mavericks, and it drew global attention. The San Antonio Spurs were overwhelmed with media credential requests. According to reports, the team received more than 200 applications from journalists and media outlets across 8 countries. The Frostbank Center was packed with so many fans that the team had to sell standing room only tickets. A generational talent like no one had ever seen before was in town, and everyone was eager to see how he'd perform in his NBA debut. Despite battling foul trouble, Wemby scored 15 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. It probably wasn't the explosive debut that many were hoping to see, but there were enough positives to hold on to, and in a matter of weeks, Wemby would begin to shatter record after record. On the 2nd of November 2023, he notched 38 points against the Phoenix Suns, the most in franchise history since David Robinson in 1990. And by the end of the month, he was averaging 18.2 points, 5.9 rebounds, and 2.2 assists per game. This stat line ultimately confirmed that all the hype surrounding Wemby coming into the NBA was valid. But despite his amazing individual performances, the San Antonio Spurs couldn't buy a win to save their lives. It took a while and some very embarrassing losses, but coach Greg Popovich finally realized he'd been playing his best player in the wrong position. You see, throughout his first 19 games of the season, Wemby was deployed as a power forward, perhaps to protect him from having to take physical punishments from the biggest players on the opposing teams. And despite Wemby's success as a power forward, Coach Popovich figured he could be even more effective as a center. So on the 8th of December 2023, Wemby was moved to the center position against the Bulls. The Spurs ended up losing the game, but the French star had shown just how effective he can be as a center, scoring 21 points, 20 rebounds, and 4 blocks. Once Popovich had found Wemby's best position, it was time to address his minutes restriction. At 7'4", Wemby is one of the tallest players in NBA history, and reliable evidence has shown that players of this size are prone to injuries. So the Spurs medical team thought it would be wise to cap Wemby's time on the court to 24 minutes per game. This became even more necessary after the youngster missed a few games due to injury. However, Wemby was hungry for more minutes, and this would lead him to do something outrageous against the Grizzlies on the night of January 4, 2024. In this game, the Spurs were down against the Grizzlies by 11 with 3 minutes and 7 seconds left on the clock. Wemby had racked up 25 minutes on the night, exceeding the recommended time limit by the medical staff. So, Coach Popovich pulled him out of the game. Wemby would try to talk his way back onto the court, but the coaching staff refused to budge. So he took matters into his own hands by checking himself into the game. This little daring move was short-lived though, as Popovich subbed him out just 1 minute later. Of course, NBA fans on social media saw the funny side of this sequence. But behind the scenes, it triggered some serious re-evaluation from the Spurs. By mid-January, Wemby saw his minutes restriction lifted, enabling him to extend his time on the court. Since then, we've seen a significant jump in his stats. In his first game after the All-Star break, Wemby scored 19 points, 13 rebounds, 5 blocks, 5 steals, and 4 assists against the Sacramento Kings. Just 1 more assist, and he would have sealed the first 5x5 stat line of his young career. Wemby wouldn't have to wait too long though, because just 24 hours later he poured 27 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, 5 steals, and 5 blocks against the Lakers. This made him the second rookie and the 22nd player in NBA history to record a 5x5 stat line. Currently, Wemby's averaging 21.3 points, 10.6 rebounds, 3.8 assists, and 3.6 blocks per game. These numbers are unreal and unmatched by any rookie since the NBA began tracking blocks and steals 50 years ago. But even if we ignore the rookie tag for a second, this league has not seen a player so dominant and versatile as Victor Wembanyama in decades. Wemby's greatness is such that he was named favorite for the Rookie of the Year honors even before he played a single minute in the NBA. And now that he's basically won the award, he has an opportunity to take his rookie season legacy to a whole nother level by doing something that no other rookie has ever done before. In the history of the league, no rookie has won the Defensive Player of the Year award, but Victor Wembanyama has a good chance of being the first rookie ever to do it. His average of 3.6 blocks per game is the most by any player in the league this season, and despite playing on restricted minutes for most part of the season, the French phenom adds 1.2 steals as well. In the last 15 years, Jaren Jackson Jr. is the only other player to average 3 blocks and 1 steal per game, and that was in the 2023 season when he won the Defensive Player of the Year award. Based on this, you'd expect Wemby to be the frontrunner for the hardware, but somehow he's behind Rudy Gobert in the ratings despite edging out the Timberwolves center on blocks, assists, and deflections per game. Make no mistake, Gobert's a worthy contender, having won the award in 3 of the last 6 seasons. However, if you look at the stats in this campaign, there's not one player that has contributed more to their team defensively than Wemby has done to the San Antonio Spurs. With Wemby on the court, the Spurs have a defensive rating of 117.2. When he's on the bench, that number jumps to 123.1. Beyond the stats, Wemby has established himself as a subconscious deterrent to attackers. Opposition players are literally afraid of going against him so much that they would rather pass the ball to a teammate than attempt an easy layup when Wemby is guarding the rim. This has been dubbed the Wembanyama effect, and we've seen it play out many times this season, like this freak sequence in the game against the Grizzlies, where he single-handedly blew up a 3-on-1 fast break without lifting a finger. Things like this don't appear on the stat sheet, but they're just as important as making blocks and steals. Take it from a man who's regarded as one of the best defensive players of this generation.
Wemby is definitely the defensive player of the year. The way he impacts the game, both on the defensive end, whether it's off the ball, on the ball. You drive into the lane and get a layup, and you see Wemby, and you just go the other way, that's a block shot.
Right now, the only thing holding back Wemby's Defensive Player of the Year chances is that he plays for the Spurs, a team that has the 6th worst defense in the league and is on course to finish bottom of the Western Conference for the 2nd consecutive season. In contrast, Rudy Gobert is anchoring a team with the best defense in the entire league, which ultimately gives him an edge based on the current voting pattern. But we all know that if both players were to swap teams, the alien would be the overwhelming favorite. This raises a very important question that the voting panelists should consider when casting their votes. Is the Defensive Player of the Year really an individual award, or is it a team prize? Well, if you ask me, I think that the Defensive Player of the Year should be awarded to a player based on their individual stats and not where their team ranks defensively. Watching Wemby's historic rookie season is exciting and scary, especially if you're not a Spurs fan. Nonetheless, everyone who has an opportunity to watch him right now must count themselves lucky, because players like Wemby only come once in a century, or maybe even once in a lifetime. As I mentioned earlier, he's got the Rookie of the Year award on lock, and if sensible heads prevail, he should win the Defensive Player of the Year as well. But even if he doesn't win it, there's no need to panic, because there will be many more opportunities for him to win this award and many others in the future. And as far as Wemby's ceiling, well, I'll let LeBron James do the talking for me.
He doesn't have a ceiling. He doesn't have a ceiling, so he can do whatever he wants to do with his career.